Bonjour, bonjour. It is Monday, August 26, 2024. I just recorded another one saying today was 1944, but 80 years ago and a day. So on August 25th, 1944, here at this hotel, the Maurice was a very pinnacle part and the end of the liberation of Paris and also the march to the end of World War II happened right here. So it was about 1 p.m. on August 25th when the Free French forces entered into the Maurice to arrest Dietrich von Cholitz. And Cholitz was the general of Paris. He was named that by Hitler on August 7th. He arrived here on August 8th and he decided to set himself up here at the Maurice, which the German army had pretty much taken over any of the fancy hotels, the government buildings, everything. They were taking the best of the best. So he set up here. So he wasn't here for very long. He set up here, and it was getting towards the last days because the German army didn't have as many troops. The Free French forces were starting to stand up with the French communists, and they were starting to fight back. And he had realized that his days were probably numbered, and the Swedish council had come in, and he around Norling, and he had taken a meeting with him so that he could try to get 3 different French resistance fighters released. The two kind of had a bond, talking about family, and Nordling realized that Cholitz was maybe a good weak point that they could try to break into. So on the 24th of August, they were here in the hotel, were talking all night long. And it was then that he had decided to disobey the order that Hitler had placed on August 23rd, saying to blow up Paris, to leave it here with nothing but ruins. He'd rather it be completely just rubble than get into the hands of the enemy. And Cholitz decided to disobey that order and not do it, and for a few reasons. First, he had fallen in love with Paris. Second, he had beginning to think that Hitler had actually gone insane, that he was crazy, that also that the end was nigh, because like I said, that the troops of the Germans were much fewer in numbers than the resistance fighters. And at this point, he just thought, well, what would be the point of actually doing that? So he decided to not do that. And on the 25th, the French forces came in here and he surrendered to them. They took him that day up to Montparnasse, and they wanted to have it, the surrender signed before 5 p.m. because that's when de Gaulle was going to enter. He decided he wanted to turn himself into the interim French government here in Paris rather than turn himself in. So he actually signed it in front of Leclerc and Tanguy, and Tanguy was in charge of the French resistance. So he had left this building. He ended up being arrested, of course. He was sent to London, and then he was eventually sent to Mississippi in the United States, where he was never really charged with anything. He was released, and he went back to Germany, and he wrote a book, Is Paris Burning? And talking about how he was a savior of Paris. But before we start thanking and saying that this Nazi had a heart of gold, he did on many occasions boast how he did his job very well with the complete annihilation and killing of Jews. So we thank him for what he did for Paris, but let's maybe not thank him for being this great guy that he tried to. I did read that his son, many years later, tried to write a lot of stuff about his father, which we do thank him for saving Paris, because he did fall in love with it, like we all do. But it was here in the Maurice. This is now a Palace Hotel. Built the Maurice opened 1815. Smaller version behind us on the Rue Saint-Honoré. And then it moved over here in the early 1820s, and it had everybody under the sun wanting to stay here. They wanted to build a hotel that would be perfect for the elite clients coming over from England to stay. It is very nice. I've had clients stay there before and they absolutely love it, but it does start at about 1,300 euros a night. So, but it is beautiful. You could also go in there anytime for lunch or dinner. And if you're in Paris and you're walking around and you really need to use the restroom, walk into one of those hotels, but make sure that you're not really wearing just, flip-flops and a lady wearing shorts or look too much like a tourist. They might stop you, but if you look and walk in there like you belong there, just stroll in there and use the bathroom. They're usually always very nice about it. But it is 2 days before the opening ceremonies of the Paralympic Games, which will happen over here on Place de la Concorde. And so the streets here are pretty much closed off. Only Rue de Rivoli is really only people are allowed to drive on it or delivery and transport, like taxis. And that taxi was just going the wrong direction, but take advantage of this. This looks very much like it would have in 1944. But if you did not see my video yesterday where I walked through a bunch of the other reminders of the liberation of Paris, check that out here on my YouTube and join me most Sundays with a little live or pre-recorded and premiered little walkthrough history of Paris, the deeper version of Paris. This is not the wham bam, hold the taxi, I'm gonna see the Mona Lisa version of Paris. This is the deeper version of the stories of the people that made Paris the Paris we love today.